to the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast with your host, Amanda Bird. Welcome to this week's episode of the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast. I am your host, Amanda Bird. Before I tell you what this week's episode is about, I'm going to say it's been brought to my attention that the voice that's in the intro and outro is amazing. So, excuse me, for those of you who are unaware of whose voice that is, I will tell you that is not hired help. That is mine. Super fun fact about that voice. When I was a 911 operator and police dispatcher, there would be, 20 of us in a room, and we had these headsets. We'll go in our ear and then had the little thing that goes to our mouth. So while I can't hear myself, but I can hear the cops on the other end of the radio, and I can hear my coworkers, I can't hear myself. So I would tone my voice down, and there was a joke running around every police department that had to hear me on the other end of the radio that was my porn voice. I still think that's seriously the most amusing fucking thing I've probably ever heard about my voice, because I'm not the only person. 90% of my friends are the cops that I would dispatch to. So there would be nights where I would hear other people I worked with on the radio, and I'd be like, oh, but I'm the one with the porn voice, right? And they would look at me mortified that I even knew that this thing existed, that people were saying this about me. And they're like, how do you know about this? And I'm like, because I have friends who tell me these things. I don't really know. But I think it's funny that people don't realize it's me. I don't know what it was that caused me to use that voice specifically when I recorded it. But I will say I am mad that I don't talk like that in every episode. I did also record that when I first got my voice back after, so many months of essentially being, almost a year at this point, of talking all day long. You can still hear it. I've done a lot of talking today, and today's not work day. I've just done a lot of talking. Friends on the phone, tattoo artist, a lot of talking. Speaking of, one of my tattoo guys has written a horror story, and I'm going to need to brush up on my Spanish because he was telling me about it, and I think it's a great concept. And he showed me, in his notebook what he wrote. And of course, my Spanish is just fucking ridiculously bad. You would think, having been married to a Mexican, my Spanish might be a little bit better. Nope. Furthest thing from the truth. So I'm definitely going to have to brush up on my Spanish to be able to read his story. But he was asking questions about, self-publishing, and that's kind of the way he wants to go. So because, just like the rest of us in the indie world, the biggest thing that we're after is control, right? And when I say control, I mean control over the manuscript, control over if that manuscript even gets published. All of it. We choose our editor instead of a publishing house saying, here's your editor, and then that editor is fucking horrendous. But you don't have your choice of editors when you sign with a publishing house. You don't have your choice of cover artists when you sign with a publishing house. The biggest difference between a publishing house and a self-pub is the publishing house is going to expect you to handle your own marketing. And it's very rare these days that people get substantial, what's the word I'm looking for? Substantial upfront payments. Very rare these days, especially with the big five. They really have to believe in your book. They really have to understand that you're going to outsell that. Advance, that's what it is, advance. And if you don't outsell that advance, you don't see shit ever again until you outsell that advance. If you don't outsell that advance, you run lots of different risks. First and foremost being loss of contract. That's how the big five work. That's why a lot of us don't do it, because we want to be able to pick who we're working with from start to finish. I don't want you telling me that I need to get along with this editor. Well, guess what? That editor did a shit job. That editor's feedback is fucking garbage. It tells me she didn't read the story or he didn't read the story. This cover artist does great work, but I don't think this cover artist is right for my book. Like, these are the choices that you have as an indie that you don't have when you sign on with publishers. And when I say publishers, I am largely speaking of the top five. There are indie pub houses that are great, and if you don't like the cover or you don't like your editor, you can say something and they will change things up for you. Just make sure you do it instantly. Keep that line of communication open with an indie publishing house. But I think it's great that this guy is writing stories and he writes them down by hand. I think it's awesome. And when he gets tired of writing them in his handwriting, his girlfriend writes them for him. They actually have a gender reveal party tomorrow, which is pretty awesome. I'm really excited for them. But yeah, so that's the fun stuff for the opening of this episode. So this week's episode is I'm going to gripe about one specific book series. I can't remember exactly what I titled it. I have my notebook here. I'm outside, as you just heard the fucking car horn, because I'm stupid and I'm outside because I just don't want to sit inside. And the life portion is dating after trauma, which in and of itself can be pretty traumatic because things happen that you're not used to. And there's a bunch of other things that I'm going to get into on that. I feel like this whole episode is also shenanigans because fucking car horns. All right, so here I am. I can't even say griping, y'all. I am about to rail on this series. Feel free to fast forward, especially if it's a series you have not read and or seen the TV show of. The series that we are going to discuss right now is The Vampire Diaries. LJ Smith, I would love to have a conversation with you. Fucking love it. Because why? Why in the ever-loving, I don't even know, like, I don't have words to describe the depths of, like, I don't know, a fucking supermassive black hole. Why do people love Elena? Why? She is the actual worst character in the history of bad characters. This girl does nothing but whine from the beginning of the series all the way to the end. The best seasons are the ones where that bitch is in a coma because she's not whining or crying about whatever. She's human up until what? Season 3, 4, 5, I believe, is pushing it. I think it's like season 4. It might even actually be season 5. But as a human, the girl whines about everything. Her voice is whiny. Nina Dobrev is a not bad actor, but holy fuck me, I cannot stand this. And I rewatch this series quite frequently. I put it on in the background when I'm reading a book before bed. And then it's like, I guess I'm a masochist when it comes to this series because I do like the series. It introduces my favorite spin-off series and my favorite characters. So yes, I do like this. At least the episodes specifically that Klaus Michelson is in. Because let's face it, Klaus is fucking awesome. Joseph Morgan is just phenomenal. Unfortunately, you will not catch me going to any of the Vampire Diaries and or Originals conventions because holy fucking price tag. They want like $1,200 for 3 days. That is just convention entry. Nah, bitch. I'm good. I'm going to just come out and hang out in Covington and run into Matt Davis, who plays Alaric, because the man lives there. Like, they all come back to visit pretty frequently. I will say, if you get the opportunity to go to Covington and do the Vampire Diaries tour, do it. It's so worth it. It's so much fun. You get to pick like different teams and stuff like that. I even picked up a t-shirt that says "Sired to Klaus." Leave it to me to be the one who's obsessed with the worst, meanest, absolute biggest douchebag in the show. Now, Klaus has good sides and bad sides, right? Like, his love for Caroline is probably my absolute favorite thing. And Caroline is my favorite character in the Vampire Diaries. I thought Damon was cool in the beginning, but then I'm like, Damon is just a selfish fucking man-child. That's all he is. Stefan, too wishy-washy, kind of a bitch. So the two of them as vampires kind of fucking suck. And then you've got Caroline, who is awesome as a human and as a vampire. I really like when she flips her humanity switch. That's probably one of my favorite things. Bonnie Bennett, because if you don't like Bonnie Bennett, get the fuck away from me. Matt, which a lot of people say Matt's kind of a whiny bitch, but he's actually not. Matt's probably the only one with a fucking backbone next to... I mean, does Tyler really have a backbone, though? Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. I do understand the frustration with him being sired to Klaus and also a werewolf, so he's a fucking hybrid too, like Klaus. But, like, I need to get back on the Elena train here because I need to rail the fuck out of this character. The biggest thing I am completely unable to comprehend is she is a whiny little shit in the books, too. And I don't understand how this series became what it is. I cannot wrap my head around it. I just can't. You can only listen to the same person. Ew, my parents died. Ew, my brother died 15 times. Oh my god, he died for real. Ew, my life sucks. Oh, I can't handle this. Oh, I can't process. Bitch, you're a woman. Suck it the fuck up and work on it. Like, I don't understand. Like, to me, it encourages teenagers to be whiny fuckers. And no, that's no. Also, Gen X are here, so of course I'm going to disagree with that. I don't understand. So, if someone, ideally LJ Smith, has any kind of information for me, please enlighten me. I just don't understand. And I also want to know what the hell LJ Smith was thinking writing this just excessively whiny character. There have been times on my watch-throughs where I will mute Elena every time she speaks because I just don't want to fucking listen to her. I will listen to everyone else. And then back on the Bonnie Bennett train. Bonnie is fucking amazing. Love Bonnie to death. I don't understand how people don't like her character. And then the relationship between her and Enzo. Oh my god. Y'all, I cried. If you've seen it, if you've read it, you know. Like, it was such a beautiful relationship. Such a beautiful relationship. So, yeah. And then, you've got Matt's sister, whose name is failing me at the moment. She was killed by Damon. It just, the whole thing is really fucking weird. And then there's the bit where, they find their mother in the prison world and they bring her back with the heretics, and the whole thing's just really fucking weird. And then Klaus comes back at some point and it's just like, hallelujah, thank you, save me from whatever the fuck this is happening right now. And then Matt evacuates the town because gas leak, because these heretics, I'm completely out of order, by the way. And then Matt decides, like, he can't help Stefan anymore. And I have heartburn, which is my own fault because I totally forgot to take my Prilosec this morning. Don't ask me how I forgot to take my Prilosec this morning because I don't even know how I forgot to take my Prilosec this morning, but it happened. So, yeah. And maybe I should not record this podcast outside on a weekend night anymore because my neighbors are making me want to hysterically laugh at their terrible park jobs. Holy shit. That's bad. That's real bad. Take his door off. Sorry. I apologize. This is why I should not be recording outside on a weekend night. Anyway, so where else do I want to go with railing on Elena? Even Jeremy, like, the only cool person in that family was their cousin Jenna. or Aunt Jenna, because Jenna was their mother's sister or something. And when the parents died, Jenna came to live with them because it was in the parents' will that Jenna took care of them. Like, that was all essentially in the very first episode. And like, between Jeremy and Elena, they were both so whiny, and Jeremy wound up becoming a vampire hunter, because it's in his bloodline or some bullshit. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how that went down, but I don't understand how whiny characters are the central focus of any story at all. Like, let's face it, I'm about to say an unpopular opinion, might get canceled, don't think I care. Harry Potter. Harry Potter was a whiny motherfucker too. Part of me thinks J.K. Rowling did it on purpose, because she just strikes me as that kind of person. Then you got Ron, who outgrew his whininess, but Harry was kind of always whiny up until Deathly Hallows. Draco was just a twerp. Hermione was, as Snape so eloquently put it in Prisoner of Azkaban, she was an insufferable know-it-all. She was. She absolutely was. And I think that was a turning point for her when Snape called her an insufferable know-it-all, because she started to change. She wasn't the little know-it-all biatch that she was. She chilled out on that. So, yeah, I think J.K. Rowling kind of did all that on purpose. But I don't understand, like, what the deal is with whiny characters. I really don't. At least the story of Harry Potter, okay, that works, was really good. The storyline was really good. The whole overarching theme of Voldemort and yada yada yada, which, now that I've said Voldemort, I see in my head Voldemort on platform 9 3/4 in the 3-piece suit, and I need to wipe the drool off my face, because I will always, always, always have a crush on that. Again, crush on the villain. In case I haven't mentioned before, I am a supervillain in training, so that is a reality for all of my friends. Some of them love it, some of them hate it, some of them just kind of roll their eyes at me. But yeah, I am a supervillain in training for sure. If you ask the most, the narcissist, what, I mean, he'd tell you I'm a villain too. I'm the worst fucking person ever, because who knows what bullshit he'd make up, but the reality was I wouldn't fucking bend to his will anymore. So, yeah, Elena is the whiniest fucking character ever. Her brother Jeremy is almost as whiny, even when he becomes a vampire. And then when vampire hunter. And when Elena becomes a vampire, like, I just don't, she whines even more. Even when she flips her humanity switch, she whines even more. And I just don't, I'm like, so not only are you the worst human, because all you do is whine. Like, it's not even bitching or complaining. It's quite literally that annoying whining that, like, a child does when they're stupid tired. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, if you've ever heard a child when they're fighting a nap and they're whining about something, and this kid hasn't slept in, like, they got up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's now like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Their nap is supposed to be at 11 in the morning, and they haven't done shit but run around like a little lunatic all day. That whining that child is doing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's Elena through the entirety of the series. I don't understand. I just don't understand. So the fact that the popularity of this series is what it is, I mean, as I've said, I rewatch it a lot as background noise. Sometimes I stop reading because there's a good part or a good episode and I actually want to pay attention, which is my own fault. But also I try to tune Elena out as much as I can, because holy fuck, it's bad. But the only one who was not whiny was their Aunt Jenna. And then there's Alaric Saltzman. We're not going to talk about him. He's pretty fucking amazing, even as the temporary vampire that he was. Actually, as a vampire, he was a dick, and I loved it. Almost all of it. And then, you've got all these other great characters that come in and out, and it's just Kai Parker can fuck himself. And then you've got the spinoff of, the originals, which is Legacies. Legacies was fun. It started out good, and then it just turned into stupid fun. Dumb fun, not stupid fun, because we know when I say stupid fun, it means like amazingly fun. And it's really not amazingly fun, but it's fun. Think cheesy VFX like like Doctor Who. Like, those cheesy effects are exactly what's in Legacies, and it's fucking amazing. Also, tonight, the original plan for tonight, by the way, was to get all hopped up on energy drinks and write. I don't know if that's going to happen. It still could, but I also remembered I needed to record this episode because I do have to write during the week. Now, the deadline that I'm currently operating under is more than likely going to change because there's no fucking way I'm going to be able to meet it. I would need more hours than I have in a week. I'm probably just not going to make it. I have to write too many words for that to happen. And I am okay with that. Readers, if you're not okay with that, I apologize. It's not always something I have control over. Is it on me that this deadline is moving? Absolutely. But there are things in my brain that I can't exactly force the words out because I'm sorry, I'm not going to write you a terrible story. Not going to happen. The one in the trilogy that was forced out, I mean, the trilogy's not even in production anymore. It's not in print anymore. That's got to be completely gone over and overhauled. And my editor keeps asking about it. And I'm like, yeah, probably never. So, no. I have bigger, better things to move on to. I mean, I might go back to that series at some point in the future, but I can tell you for at least the next 5 years, it's not going to happen. So, yeah. Book 8, Harlow, however you would like to pronounce it. Whore. I wanted to name it Whore, but I knew Amazon was going to give me shit, so I decided against it. Yeah, let's just go with the book is more than likely not going to be in anybody's hands until January, and I'm okay with that. And the reason I say January is this. Apple just released their holiday publication deadlines. I don't understand. 18 fucking day process time. 18. And that is 4 or 5 different date sets. 18 days. I said, what? Like, are y'all getting that many books that you got to go through? I mean, in all reality, can I tell you how long it takes my shit to be available when I upload it onto Apple? 6 hours at most. That's the longest I've ever seen it take. So to tell me it's going to take 18 days is a lot excessive. Amazon, we're not going to go there. Amazon usually takes, about 72 hours. And Amazon can take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. When they do have a lot of books, it'll take, that full 72 hours. But they're really good about the 72-hour deadline. That's about it. Kobo's not bad. Kobo's usually within like an hour or two. Same thing with their audiobooks. Findaway Voices is an audio distributor. I have not released anything around the holidays, so I haven't really paid attention to what their deadline schedule is. But I tend to work off of Apple's just because Apple will release theirs first. It's the middle of October, and Apple has already released their holiday deadline schedule. Amazon will not release theirs for another 2 weeks, minimum. Barnes & Noble will release theirs around the same time as Amazon. So I tend to work off of the Apple one. And if it's August or September and I am trying to set myself a hard deadline that I know I'm not going to move, I want this book out for the holidays, blah, 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 blah. Let me lie to myself some more. I will use the previous year's Apple deadlines to figure out when I can schedule things. I was using that to schedule Harlot, but yeah, that's just not going to happen. My brain is not functioning at a capacity where it needs to, and excuse me, I'm sure that's got a lot to do with the fact that I also have two jobs on top of the books. So I'm just doing what I got to do. So let's head on to actually, before we get there, if you enjoy these rants about characters and or series, whatever, do me a favor. Leave a comment, drop me a line, amanda@amandabird.net. Let me know what you want to hear me go off about next. Please don't say Star Wars. Please don't say Star Wars. That will take up like 3 or 4 episodes. Actually, probably more than that, probably about 6, because I will go off on one movie per episode. And that's really not a good thing for any of us, because I get pretty heated once we get to Rey. I'm going to change topic now. Remember, like, share, subscribe, please. Ultimately, subscribing is what matters. Not just subscribing, but you get what I'm saying. So on to the life part of today's episode, dating after trauma. So I mentioned this is traumatic itself, because it is. You're seeing things, you're seeing, fuck, is this a red flag? Is this a red flag? Is this a red flag? Is that a red flag? That's a red flag. No, it's not. That's a red flag. No, dummy, that's not a red flag either. You're just seeing things thinking they're a red flag because this is all that you've seen for however long previously. You're healed enough where you're comfortable dating, or maybe it's just one person that you've known for a while and you've wanted to date this person and they've wanted to date you, and you decide, you know what, fuck it, let's give it a shot, as long as you're cool with me being some more fucked up version of me than you previously knew, and understand that I am still trying to heal from this relationship. So you think you're seeing red flags where they're not there. You think you're seeing behaviors that could be classified as narcissistic, but they're not. The self-doubt at that point is very real. It does come back to bite you in the ass, and I am learning this. The self-doubt is very, very real. There's other things that, probably are actual red flags, but it's on you. No one can give you, people could give you advice, but I personally am not going to try to tell you, like, yeah, you should do this or you should do that when, this very specific red flag thing happens. No, not. I'm not that person. I'm not qualified for that. What I can say is when there are red flags, they need to be addressed immediately, or as close to immediately as possible. You cannot, the other person you're in a relationship with cannot know that this is something that, causes you to recoil, even if they see you recoil or you freak out and start yelling at them. They don't understand what it is about that. And you need to let them know, like, hey, X, Y, and Z bothered me because B, C, and F, or, A, B, and C are what, these are exactly what I just went through. And if this is going to continue, I need to remove myself from this relationship. Now, I can't tell you what's going to happen from there because nobody knows. A true narcissist will gaslight you, manipulate you, make you doubt your fucking reality, just like what you just got out of, right? That, I'm going to give you advice on that. Walk. You know what? Don't even walk. Fucking run. Run. If you got a scooter, get on it. You got a motorcycle, get on it. Get the fuck out of that situation because you don't want to be back there again. Believe me, you don't want to be back there again. I've had moments in my relationship where I'm like, oh, fuck. Is this eerily similar to what I went through? Is it not eerily similar to what I went through? Am I just seeing things because I'm fucking terrified? So you gotta, it sucks because it requires a lot more observation and a lot more thought than what you think it's going to require. I was upfront and honest, and I said, look, I I'm not ready for this. I'm not. But I am healing, and I'm going to continue to heal. And, you know, I'm not going to ask you to wait for me because that's a super fucked up thing to do. But I do want to give this a try. So if you're cool with, you know, baby steps and sometimes crawling, then let's give it a shot. There have been a few stumbles, and that's okay. That's totally okay, because we've been able to work them out. One of them required me swallowing my pride, sucking it up and just pressing send. And hey, hurdle overcome. But the point is, it's gonna be kind of traumatizing to start dating again after a traumatic relationship. But it's gonna be traumatizing in a different way. It's not gonna be traumatizing in a bad way. I mean, yeah, there's the sucky bits of like, oh fuck, is this person a narcissist? Is this a red flag? Is that a red flag? Oh God, that's exactly what my narcissist said to me. But this person doesn't mean it that way. Like, this person means it in the most upfront, straight to the point way that they could possibly say it. Whereas your narcissist is saying it to you to gaslight you and manipulate you and make you doubt your reality. This person's saying it to you because this is what they see. This is what they're observing. They're not trying to be a dick about it. They're just telling you what they see. And the line is so, so fine. You will, I promise you, you will catch yourself doubting if it's worth it. Go with your gut. Go with your gut. If you got to sit and think about it for a little bit, because even your gut's confused, fucking do it. You got to talk out loud to yourself. Hey, I do that shit all the time. I do it in public. I do it in the car. I don't care where I'm at. If I have to have a conversation with myself, I'm going to have a conversation with myself. People definitely look at me like I'm crazy. I've gotten better about who I'm around when I have a conversation with myself. But beyond that, no. I'm still going to have a conversation with myself because I need to have a conversation with myself. I need that back and forth, and I can't do it in my head. I've gotten really, really bad with that because of the narcissistic relationship. So it's challenging, it's exciting, it's fucking terrifying, and it's absolutely amazing and awesome and great to feel like someone, to know, not even feel like it's great to feel for sure, but it's even better to know that somebody is actually genuinely trying to understand you and wants to be with you. And that in and of itself is probably one of the biggest things that they can say to you. There is something else too, but hang on a second, I have to cough. The something else that is probably the single greatest thing you can hear from a romantic interest, dating partner, whatever you choose to call them, after coming out of a narcissistic relationship, is that they respect you. I still see that moment very clearly in my head, and I cry happy tears. To be completely honest, my boyfriend makes me cry happy tears multiple times a week. And it makes me feel like an absolute emotional fucking fool every time. And I just start laughing because I'm like, oh look, happy tears again. Thanks, appreciate it. I don't know that he understands how much the things he says and does affect me in a good way. And I don't know that I will ever be able to properly convey to him that he's everything and more. I mean, I tell him that. I do. I tell him, you're everything I've ever wanted and then some. Hell, my ex-husband was like, yeah, so he's me. And I'm like, yeah, but better. And he's like, all right, I'll take that. He's like, I'll absolutely take that. He's like, you deserve to be fucking happy. He's not wrong. I gave a lot of myself to him, and in the process, I changed to the type of person who was swindled by a narcissist and married to that motherfucker for almost 2.5 years. Well, with him for almost 2.5 years. So, yeah, life, people will always surprise you. The person who needs to surprise you the most is yourself. The person you need to invest in is yourself. What did he say to me last night? Something about the person you can trust the most and the person you should invest the most in is yourself. Something along those lines, babe. I'm sure you'll correct me, because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. And I would love to actually quote that, especially in in the character that I'm killing that's based off of you and in another book that, you asked me. I'm kidding. I'm not going to kill you off in a book unless you really want me to. But yeah, he's right. The person that you can trust, the person that you really need to invest in is yourself. And that's because you are the one who's going to pick you back up when you fall. Yeah, you're going to have friends. Yeah, you're going to have your support system. You might even have family if you're lucky enough to have that. But you are the one ultimately responsible for picking you up off the ground when you fall. I have learned this the hard way, just like I'm sure a lot of you have. And it is less than stellar. It is so far less than ideal. But we do what we got to do, right? So I am continuing to heal. I've got the boundary boot camp that I'm in too, while on top of the healing program, because my boundaries suck. Or at least my boundary enforcement sucks. My boundary enforcement sucks. So, yeah, I need to learn how to be a stronger me. Now, it's funny because people say to me, oh, well, we really liked the old Amanda. When they talk about the old Amanda, they talk about Amanda 15 years ago. Amanda 15 years ago was an absolute fucking bitch. I don't want to be completely her again. There are aspects of her I have kept or I am working on bringing back because I think I should have them again. But when it comes to other aspects of her, no, I'm good. I don't want to be that person. It is possible to stick to your guns, enforce your boundaries, and not be an absolute asshole. So that's where I'm going. I'm working very hard at being that person. It just can sometimes be a challenge. But yeah, I mean, I hate to say that dating after a traumatic relationship is traumatic in and of itself, but also it kind of is. Like it sounds bad, and I don't mean for it to sound bad, but that's the reality of it. And if you're not ready for it, you need to be open with the other person that you're involved with and say, you know what, I thought I might be ready for this and I'm not. Communication goes a long way. And communication is something we never had, we didn't have in our last relationship because Cthulhu forbid we expressed our dislike, our disdain, our feelings that are ours. And then, they twist that shit, blame shift, and then you look like the fucking asshole because you're not entitled to your own feelings. That's not okay. None of that is okay, and that's why we're out of these relationships or trying to get out of these relationships. And if this new person is safe enough for you, if they're a safe person, you can absolutely say to them, well, this is how I feel. And I would hope that they take that in stride and don't get reactive about it. I know in my situation, sorry, it's not a situation. I know for me, I can have these conversations. I can say, okay, look, this made me feel this way because he used to say, do whatever. Or I can outright say, we could be talking about something and I could be like, oh, so yeah, I should probably bring this up that, this is some of the shit that he has said and done that you didn't see. And I'm still a lot fucked up from it. He's pretty good about that stuff. He's definitely pretty good about that stuff. So that is where I'm going to leave this week's episode. Remember, if there is a book and or TV series, ideally a TV series based on books, because I am actually wrapping up Evil here in the next couple of days, and I'm pretty upset that it's not in book form because I totally want to read it in book form. Also, fuck Kristen. I don't know why. I just absolutely hate that character, like, almost as much as I hate Elena. So maybe I just dislike her because Elena is actual pure fucking hatred. Yeah, if you've got ideally a book series that was turned into a TV series, email me, amanda@amandabird.net, and let me know. If it is a series I have not yet read, I will let you know, and then I will make a note to pull that onto my TBR and read that series next. Especially if it's a series that I've not read the books, but I have seen the movies or TV shows. So, yeah. I could go on for days about Hannibal as well, the Hannibal series, to include Hannibal Rising. I will not in this episode. I could in another episode. I just need some feedback from y'all to let me know what series would you like me to rail on or praise. And we can go from there. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. I will talk to you next week. Nope. I'm going to cut that. Thanks again for hanging out with me this week, and we will talk soon. Nope, don't like that either. Nope. Thanks for hanging with me this week.
This has been the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast with Amanda Bird. Song credit, audionautics.com. Intro action, AUDIONAUTIX.com. And if you'd like to support this podcast, head over to substack.com/@Books, Life, and Shenanigans.